I recently came across two separate sources of material or content, so to say. It connected my mind in ways that Christians have been trying to communicate this factual thing about human beings for years. But because other false religions and doctrines want to have a step into those matters and essentially skew science to tell a story that isn't true or even affirmed in reality of the history of the world, things can be confusing. But I just saw this Elon Musk video of him explaining why humanity must reach Mars, and it connected the two things for me. So I will share with you this video. And it's not about aliens. He talks about something very, very important in the middle of his speech that I think will help connect the dots for some people and maybe help others inquire on the subject.
This question of where are the aliens is, I think, a very profound one, because I'm aware of no evidence of aliens whatsoever, which means that I think we're probably alone. And if you look at the history of Earth, like how long has Earth been around? Assuming that physics is correct, the universe is about 13.8 billion years old.
All right, so he just said a whole bunch of things in that 20 seconds that I think it's good to address. He says that we're basically alone. And you ask yourself, how do you know this, Elon? Well, the answer is simple. There have been hundreds of research articles, findings on other planets, for example, Mars, that I'll talk about in a second here about an article that came out about it, they continue to find all of this evidence for ancient life forms, and this could house humans, and this could hold humanity and allow humanity to grow, which it's like, bro, we're not even growing here. So why in the world would we go to Mars to try to grow further? It ties into a bigger picture of religious view and worldview that really determines whether or not humanity grows. I digress. And two, consider that this guy deals with space. He deals with everything space, traveling to space, investigating what planets could hold human beings. And so him saying this is a big deal, because I think this is going to strike a lot of people as, oh, seriously? Like aliens probably don't exist? No, aliens don't exist in the capacity that we think they exist. Like they're being housed on another planet 15 million light years away, that they're going to come and invade us, or we might come into contact with them. No. And considering that he said the Earth is about 12 or 13 billion years old, you would think in billions of years something would have existed. Anyway, I don't want to get too sidetracked because he says a lot in the few minutes that he speaks here, and I think it would be good to expound on. So let's quickly move through this video and get to the article that I think points people in a direction that I'm not even sure the article is intending to do, but inadvertently it does, because people don't hold a religious perspective that God created the earth. They think science. And depending on your perspective, you either get thrown way off course, or this points to something very interesting.
Earth is about 4.5 billion years old. When you think about how old is civilization, I think the right measuring point for civilization, in my view, or a good measuring point, would be the advent of writing. So the first writing is generally considered to be the ancient Sumerians. Where are they now? They died out, but about 5,500 years ago. So if you consider, say, like, okay.
Did he really just say humans have been known to factually exist in this world about 5,500 years ago? Well, that's crazy, because we know even cavemen were scribbling things in caves. Another diversion that media has done really, really well is like they've done so well in depicting human beings as this, we started out as monkeys type of thing, which is absolutely insane, because when you look at how evolution works, it doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work that way, where we can transform from a monkey to a human being. And then considering that we have really been writing for just about 5,500 years, if evolution had been happening, then we would have seen writings from hundreds of thousands of years ago, if evolution has been happening. Unless you want to say evolution has been happening for 5,500 years. Now that's a little bit problematic, because we should have way more evidence of the evolutionary process happening. Considering evolution, for it to happen where humans go from monkeys to human, the probability of that happening in just these 5,500 years and it instantly stopping to where we can't find any evidence for it. Like it just happened rapidly over a course of a couple years, and then it just stopped. And then those humans who became humans, well, they're just separate from monkeys now. No, there's a transition that evolution shows from the monkey to like this stage, this stage, this stage, this stage. It's basically a pregnancy process that they show monkeys becoming humans or primate, whatever have you. It's false. It's a false narrative because science is intrinsically biased against religion. So they have to come up with explanations. And I'm going to keep saying this on this channel. If you deny facts, you have to create theories and probabilities to explain your perspective. So him saying this, Christians have been saying humanity is as old as maybe 5,000 to 6,000 years, which lines up with what he's saying. I don't know if he got flack for saying this stuff, but like he's showing that Christians have been right. Humanity has been around for 5,000, maybe 6,000 years. And humans are so creative because we're created by a God that you really think the humans were around for millions of years and didn't write anything anywhere? No scribbles, no pictures, no communication, nothing. And we just started 5,500 years ago. That's the crazy part. That part is the crazy part. We just started writing about around 5,500. And someone will say, well, we still need to find evidence of previous humans writing stuff on walls or whatever. Like, what if we found evidence of 30,000 years ago humans were writing? All right, go find the evidence and then we'll talk. But as far as humans, you put a toddler in a room in some kind of writing material, they're going to draw all over. They're going to take the crayons, draw on the wall. They're going to take the mud and create things. They're going to do art. So to say that humans have been writing for thousands and hundreds of thousands of years, or maybe tens of thousands of years, now you have to explain, so when did evolution happen? How did we get here? Because if we instantly start drawing art and representing ourselves in the spaces that we're in, because it's natural for humans to do that, then you have to explain to me, how did we get there? If you say humans started drawing 100,000 years ago, we just haven't found it yet. Great. How did we get there 100,000 years ago? Where's the evidence?
Okay, civilization. I think if you don't have writing, you kind of need writing for civilization. So it's only been around for like a little over 5,000 years out of 4.5 billion years that Earth has been around, and the 13.8 billion years of the universe. So all of human civilization is basically the blink of an eye. It's like just a fraction. It's nothing.
Yeah.
I think that probably means that consciousness is incredibly rare. And perhaps fleeting. It may not last for very long, because otherwise I think we would have seen aliens, some kind of sign of aliens. I think the most likely explanation is that consciousness is so rare that and does that consciousness actually extend to another planet? Does that consciousness extend to another star system? I mean, ultimately, if we're able to become a spacefaring civilization, a multi-planet species, and ultimately a multi-stellar species, and go out there and explore all these star systems, I think we may find that there are many long-dead one-planet civilizations. Well, we don't want to be one of those lame one-planet civilizations. We want to be a multi-planet civilization.
And that's where I think his hopes and aspirations for finding things outside of the Earth system is leading him. This is why he thinks we must reach Mars, because he wants to continue to expand. And he just said that as we expand and as we explore more of the universe, we're going to find that some kind of life form did exist at this time. We're going to find that at some point, which I don't know, man. It's hard to say. It really is hard to say, because according to Christian theology, we were created. So when we were created, maybe there was another civilization or something some light years away, but it's not part of our story. So even if you did find that and they're dead and gone, it does nothing for us. The other part of this that's interesting is, if they're dead and gone, does that mean we basically have another Earth? Because they were created and their environment was created to help fit them. And so I want to pull up this article here for the sake of time and talk through a few things that you might be misjudging the direction or the things being said in this article. So as you can see, the title of this article is NASA rover detects potential signatures of ancient microbial life on Mars. It says Perseverance identifies organic carbon molecules in rocks on riverbed that carried water billions of years ago. Where did the water go? See, this is some of the stuff that I would want science to explain to me. Where did the water go? As far as we understand, water does not just leave and go into space. Even if water is evaporated, even if water is destroyed, it only turns into another form that then recycles into another form and recycles based on the ecosystem. So where did the water go from billions of years ago? And this is the part that science kind of guesses with the things that it does, because how do you know? You created a tool that measures things and says billions of years ago it was created. Great. Is the tool accurate? Does the tool account for everything that could have potentially happened on Earth? So when they give out these numbers, you have to take the number with a grain of salt, because they say billions of years. Okay, did no catastrophe ever happen that sped up the aging process of the land that you're examining, that you're saying a billion years ago? Could something have happened that would skew your numbers from maybe 1 billion to 100,000? But we widely accept these numbers as is, not understanding that these are essentially guesstimates based on someone's created machine that doesn't take things into factor, because you cannot be there 1 billion years ago to understand that something happened to create and steamroll this process into it becoming 1 billion year old carbon molecule or whatever. This is the tough part about accepting mainstream science, because there's so many questions that you have to ask. It's just like, are we really just gonna ingest these numbers they tell us? It says measurements taken by the rover's Sherlock instrument identified organic carbon in mudstones from the bright angle outcrop as it trundled along Nereva Vallis, a dried up river that carried water into the planet's Jezero crater billions of years ago. They're just throwing out these numbers out. I don't know why it's so easy for them to just the first paragraph says NASA's Perseverance rover has detected complex carbon molecules in Martian rocks that are already in the spotlight for bearing potential signatures of ancient microbial life. Again, if one source of creation did not create everything and things just happened randomly, how do we then find signatures of ancient microbial life on a planet hundreds and thousands of miles away from Earth? Actually, I don't know if that's true. Let me make sure. How far is Mars from Earth? 340 million miles from Earth. And you mean to tell me that based on random evolutionary process, things just exploded and it came from one source and just exploded, and this ended up over here and this ended up over here? Like, it's just so hard to take these things 100% seriously when they come out with this kind of stuff and just throw out numbers like that to justify their bias against God. This is why science is sometimes problematic, because you're telling us that Mars is this and this and this. You realize we're going to have to travel over 30 million years just to verify you're right. So like, how do we know you're right? Just trust me, bro. Really? That's how science works? It says the form of carbon detected, known as micromolecular carbon or MMC, can originate from living organisms. Geological processes can also produce the material, meaning its detection does not amount to proof of past Martian life. Again, they create these scenarios, which I get. If you're doing a science thing, great. Like you found ancient microbes on this planet dozens of millions of miles away. And so you have to say, does this come from inorganic material or did it come from life on the planet? Well, if you were biased, everyone has a bias. I have a Christianity bias. You might have a scientific bias, right? So your bias might be science is right, Christianity just makes up stuff. Great. Based on your bias, how do you verify that they're being truthful? That's a question I want to pose. How do you know that these people are being truthful first about their measurements that they're taking about millions and hundreds of millions and billions of years ago without factoring any occurrence that could have skewed those numbers or skewed the projection of time? And then two, why do they keep wanting to find life outside of Earth when we know, even per Elon Musk, that there's probably not life outside of Earth? You're not going to find it, because if you were, you would have found it, considering that another measurement they have is the universe is billions of years old and the Earth is also billions of years old. So what are we doing here? How long are they going to pretend that God doesn't exist? How how many crazy theories of origination of the earth are they going to come up with until people are just like, all right, we're just tired of this round around that you keep putting us in? What is your answer? If you got any value out of this, let me know. Drop your thoughts below, because this is an ongoing conversation of secular science dominating the mainstream and giving people stories and just expecting them to absorb it. Let me know your thoughts below. Subscribe, like the video. Catch you guys next time. Peace.